Hello folks, this is Leah Bonasaki from the MasterLabSystems. So today we'll be looking at conventional commits and the Git hooks integration. Okay. So let's look at the agenda for today. So we'll look at what are the conventional commits and look at why I use them, format and examples, commit hooks overview, tools such as Husky, Commitlint, pre-commit, and the setup examples, and lastly the best practices. So let's look at what are the conventional commits. So a conventional commit is a standardized commit message format that improves readability, automation, and project maintainability. So of course, instead of just doing a normal commit when you are committing, let's say perhaps you have made a change to your project and then you want to commit. So instead of just adding your commit message, there is a certain way or a certain standard that gets followed on a conventional commit way. Okay, of which we'll be looking at those standards and commit types. That makes your code more cleaner and improves your commit history for readability and maintainability. Okay. So why use them? Well, as I said, for cleaner commit history, easier debugging, enables semantic versioning, and automates in changelogs. And also it is very useful in CI/CD pipelines, as you will be able to see what your last commit message was, making it easy even if you want to revert your last change. Okay. So let's look at the commit format. So we have three types of commit formats, which is if, for instance, you specify your commit type, if it's a feature or if it's a fix, or if it's a test, if it's a document, a docs, or if it's a refactor, depending on the commit type, of course, on your commit. And there is a scope. A scope would mean it's essentially the feature you are working on, that probably if it's an API, if it's an an auth, if it's an auth, if it's a style, okay, and the description of the task you're actually doing. Maybe you're adding a new JWT token, or you are adding a new authentication method, if your feature on your scope is for auth, of course. So we have a body. As I said, the body is optional, same goes for a footer as well, it's also optional. Okay. So now let's look at the commit types. So commit types can vary depending on the project specification. So of which the ones you see right now, they might be more, some they might be lesser, depending on the team agreement and the team structure. Okay. So for example, let's look at the ones I have right now. So I have a fit, which stands for a new feature if you're developing a new feature, and a fix for fixing bugs or for bug fixes, and the docs for documentation change, style for formatting only, refactor for code restructure, test for test updates, core for maintenance task. Okay, so again, you might want to add more, such as build if you're doing a build work, or CI if you're doing a CI/CD work. So again, depending on the ones you guys, your team agrees on. But of course, looking at those are the major standard commit types you can get. Okay. Now let's look at the examples. Okay, so as I said, a fit would be if you are developing a new feature and following with an auth as a scope. So an auth in this case will be in scope, meaning you are working on an authorization feature. And lastly, we are adding a short description, which is add a JWT refresh endpoint. So it means you're adding that JWT refresh endpoint on the authentication feature. Yes. So looking now at the fix, which is the second one. So we have a fix on API, and we are correcting null pointer crash. So it means now in this case, you are adding a correct null pointer crash on an API fix, meaning you are doing a fix on an API feature by adding the correct null pointer crash. Okay. So let's look at the commit hooks now. So commit hooks can be integrated in many ways or in different ways. So let's look at the ones we have currently. So hooks execute scripts during GitFlow steps. So these are the tools that execute those hooks during the GitWorkflow steps. So we have the pre-commit, and we have the commit message, and we have the pre-push. So again, on pre-commit, it means before committing there will be a certain task done, and again a commit message. So again, on commit message there is a certain commit message way that needs to be followed. Again, lastly, on pre-push, it means now before pushing there is a certain task being done. It means those scripts or get executed before or prior the workflow is done. Okay, so let's look at the tools now that we can use to integrate these commit hooks in our Git workflows. So we have Husky, we have Commitlint, we have pre-commit for Python, and we have a custom transcript, of which in this case we'll be looking at pre-commit for a Python project. Okay, so looking at how you can set up your pre-commit hook in your project using pre-commit is to install the pre-commit library using pip. Of course, this is a Python based library, so you need to have Python installed in your machine. And lastly, you need to install the pre-commit and specify the hook type, which is on Commit-Msg, of course. So we'll be looking at that as well, on how we can do it in our real world live project. So let's look at the best practices now. So of course, as I said, it's important to keep the message short, commit logically, use scopes, and follow team guidelines. Okay, so we can begin, folks, on go to our project and start integrating this commit hook into our project or our Git workflow. Okay, so I have a Python project here that I have opened on my site, so I will take you through it. So the first thing we need, as I said, we need to do what we need to install the commit library, which is, if I do pre-commit install, so ensure you are on your live directory for all your project root. So let's see, install pre-commit. Yes, so using this command, which is pip install pre-commit, it should install your pre-commit library. So I'll hit enter and execute it accordingly. So of course, on my site I've already installed it. As you can see, the requirement is satisfied. So it means essentially this is what you should be following as well at your site. So once we have installed the pre-commit library, so now it means now you need to create a pre-commit config.yaml file, which will contain your config, your commit hook config, and your expected types. Okay, so of course, if you have to be in the root project directory to create this file. So this is the file that I'm referring to. So you simply just need to create this new file right where your root directory is. So you just need to create a new of this file, so which is .precommit-config.yaml. Okay, so of course mine it's still empty, of which, as I expected, as I want us to add the code together, then we can test it together as well. Okay, so we have this pre-commit config.yaml file created in my root directory, or in my project root directory, so where also my other files are. So the same goes on your end as well. You just need to create this file right where your root directory is for your project, and then we need to just simply add this content, which is what I'll be pasting now in a minute, and I will also explain this content. So you then save. So of course it means the pre-commit library will be using this file to listen to your changes, or to listen based on the commit type, or on your commit. Will be using this file to check how you are committing on your project. So of course we will install this file. Once we add this code now, we will install this file so that each time you are trying to commit, it can run. And does it check on how you are committing. Okay, so going back to this file, so of course we are specifying the repo, so it uses a certain repo to do the conventional commit, so which is you just need to pass this repo and the version for it. So of course the hooks, we have to specify the hook ID, which is the conventional pre-commit, and the stages it needs to run to. In this case, it's not a pre-commit, it's not a pre-push, but it's a pre-commit. So, and it uses the state, which is the commit message. It checks on this stage on the commit message as it is a pre-hook. And the accepted argument style contains, it's a fit for a feature, a fix for a fix, or a bug fix, a docs for updating a document, a refactor for restructuring files, test for adding new tests or updating tests, build for doing a build work, CI for doing CI work, core for doing maintenance related work, and a revert if you are reverting a change. So these are only the accepted ones. As I said, you can extend them or limit them based on your team agreement. Okay, so once you have all of this in place now and you have saved your file, so you just need now to install the library itself, which is that will essentially install this file, so you can automatically check whenever you are committing. So we use this command to install it. So pre-commit install, yes. So we need this command now, which is pre-commit install dash hook dash type, specify the commit message as it will be listening on your commit message. Okay, so you install that. Let's press enter. As you can see, folks, it says pre-commit installed at get hooks commit message. So it means our pre-commit library has been successfully installed now. Okay, so now we can begin to test this by making a smaller change. So I'll try to make a smaller change, whether it's my document and then anywhere, maybe just go to the readme. Okay, so we'll make a smaller change from this repo. So maybe let's take off a spacing. Okay, and then from here, so maybe add another space as well. As you can see, we have added a space for a change. So now what we need to do now, we need to do a git commit, or let's just do a git add dot, and then we do a git commit dash m. So now let's start by adding a message, a wrong commit message that doesn't follow our conventional commit standard. So let's say remove spacing. Okay, and then hit enter. So it should run the commit hook now. As you can see, there you go. So as you can see, folks, immediately when you are committing, it tells you that the commit message is wrong. As you can see, it says bad commit message, meaning this change that we just made now is not committed successfully on Git due to the commit hook library that just ran and find that the commit message is wrong. It's not following the conventional standard. So again, as you can see now, it tells us that the commit hook, the conventional commit, it exited and it failed. As you can see, it failed. So, and it tells you that your commit message, it's bad, so which is now, and gives you also some options what is accepted for this repo. As you can see, these are the only accepted commit types, and also give you some examples on how you can use those commit types, those accepted commit types. So now, folks, if now I were to run the same command now and fix out my so now let's first, of course it's a set now. So now let's fix out this commit message. So maybe and say now it's a fix. Let's add a fix. So this meaning now it should work now in this case because it's following what? Our conventional commit standard. So now if we do a fix colon remove spacing, let's hit enter again. So as you can see folks, now this time it has passed, meaning it is following our commit hook conventional standard. Okay, so as you can see now it means on main it got committed and these are 2 files, 2 changes that we just made, so it means everything went in successfully this time, unlike at first. So of course, okay, as I said, these are the important ones, so it's important that each time you're trying to commit a file or a change, it follows your conventional commit standard and your commit and your types and your accepted types. Okay, so I think that's all folks. We'll just finalize now our lights. If you have any issue as well or setting up or any concerns or questions, you may just post them in the comment section below. I will be answering them when I'm uploading this content. So of course, let's look at the conclusion now. So as I said, conventional commit basket hooks is equals to, or they give you an output of a cleaner, automated and scalable development workflow, making it easier even if you need to revert back to your last committed change. Your commit history will be cleaner, easy to follow and to quickly revert from time to time. Okay folks, I think I will be ending here for this demo. Please, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and if you have some questions, please drop them in the comment section below. I will be answering those. Thank you so much folks. See you next time. Cheers, peace.